Hey everybody, it's the Ioniq guy, and today I am lucky to be in a 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 5N. Now, many of you already know what this car is, but some of you probably don't. This is Hyundai's very high performance version of the standard Ioniq 5, but it is nearly a completely different car. This thing has 600 horsepower, and it can go into a boost mode where it has 640 horsepower, and honestly, this thing is a track beast. I am in no way, shape, or form going to be able to put this car through all the paces that it deserves. I'm not going to drive this car too crazy on the streets, and unfortunately, I don't have access to a track. I really wish Hyundai would have invited me out to Laguna Seca to drive it there a few weeks ago with the other members of the press, but for whatever reason, they decided not to give me an invite. Anyway, so I'm going to be taking this car out today for a few hours. We're going to do some driving. I'm going to go to some of my favorite roads here in town, and then we'll go back to my house and we will do a little tour of the interior and exterior. But I should be getting a press vehicle in the coming weeks, so I will have the car for upwards of a week. I'll be able to spend some more time with it, test some more of its features and capabilities, and then give you guys my final opinion on it at that point. But for now, we're just going to take a first look at the Hyundai Ioniq 5N. So let's head out on the road. So the car is in park, but you can simulate idling of a gas engine here. So if I just push down on the accelerator pedal, you hear that? So there's various sounds. This one is called ignition. We can go down to evolution, see what that sounds like. It's got a simulated red line of about 7,700 RPM. Let's go into supersonic. I've heard this one sounds like a jet engine. Kind of a cool sound. So those are the sounds. I'm going to leave it on ignition for now, just to see how I like it. I really do enjoy the quietness of an electric vehicle, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be keen on having this setting on. Looking at the windscreen here, you can see that the guys at the dealership here have been having fun with this car. It's covered in dead bugs. They also did get it from Vermont, so it was on about 100 and something mile drive from Vermont down here to central Connecticut. So it's got some miles on it already, so it's not the cleanest car I've ever been in, but it doesn't really matter for what we're about to do. So let's head on the road. We'll kick it into drive. I put on N-Grin Boost, which should give me the full 641 horsepower. We're in sport mode. Oh wow, the steering is quite heavy. So once traffic clears here, we're going to shoot out here and give it all it's got. So we're stopped. Oh my God. Woo! Holy shit. Oh my goodness. Wow. That was intense. Oh man, that really got my heart racing there. So yeah, you can hear the simulated engine sounds here. I'm downshifting right now until we come up on this Jeep in front of us. Okay, this is very different from a standard Ioniq 5, and I'm gonna have to play with some of the features here. Wow, my heart is really beating after that launch. So I turned off N-Grin Boost because I don't really need that right now. But we're about to merge onto the highway, so I'm going to give it all it's got when we go around that corner of that on-ramp. Don't want to get into too much trouble here on this on-ramp. Oh my God, this thing. Whoa. Wow. Wow, guys, this thing is freaking fun. Holy shit. Whew. So let's just set a highway drive assist and let it do its thing until we get off the next exit where we're gonna go on to some twisties here. All in all though, I mean, besides the sport seats, which are a little tight for my liking, I'm also a big guy, so that's kind of to be expected. First thing I'm noticing, it's a little louder than the Ioniq 5. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the sounds, the simulated sounds for now. But we can go into the N mode screen here, and there'll be all sorts of cool information here. Unlike the regular Ioniq 5, even at 75 miles per hour, this thing still just pulls. You know, this revised center console here with the padding on the side so that you can kind of lock yourself in when you're doing some tight turns at a track. It's not as bad as I was expecting it to be. Okay, I'm not really sure why the sounds came back on here. Sound off. What, you can't turn it off? That's kind of annoying. So I'm not sure how to activate iPedal here. I don't even know if you actually can. It's only giving me the simulated shifting. And I kind of want to be an iPedal. The perforated steering wheel feels really nice. Engrin boost could get you into some trouble, I will tell you that. So we're coming into some turns here. I got to be careful because the suspension is much different than the standard Ioniq 5. This thing just nice and flat. You can really feel the road. Let's keep going. This is fun as hell. Oh man, oh man, oh man. This thing is just so freaking planted. Oh my God. So I'm just in sport mode right now. I've got iPedal engaged, which is really how I prefer to drive an EV. I don't want to personally simulate shifting, but some of you might be into that. So we're coming up on this twist up here. You can see this screen over here with some data. I would love to take this thing to a track. Hyundai, I don't know if I'll ever forgive you for not inviting me to Laguna Seca. When the 6N comes out, I better get an invite. Whew. Quite exhilarating. As somebody who's not really a sports car driver, I've got to say, this thing is fun. Now that we've driven it like a bat out of hell, let's throw it into eco mode and just see what it's like if you just want to drive this thing like a normal, conservative person. And just out of curiosity, I wonder what our efficiency was there. 2.1 miles per kilowatt hour. That's honestly not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, in eco mode, the steering feels a little lighter than when it's all souped up. Pretty relaxed. I mean, the interior is very familiar other than the center console here. I know a lot of you really are keen on the big open area here, but this really doesn't bother me all that much. All right, let's hop back on the highway here. Oh, man. Whew. God, this thing gets up to speed so quick. Rated 0 to 60 time is about 3.3 seconds, and it feels all that fast. I think they might have removed some of the sound dampening materials throughout the car because it definitely seems louder than the standard Ioniq 5. They might have done that to save some weight. I'm sure they had their reasons. I do really love this steering wheel. As big as a fan as I am of the flat bottom design and with the two-spoke look, this all around is just a really nice feeling steering wheel. This car does cost just about $66,000, so it's really not that much more expensive than the standard Ioniq 5 Limited. But now that we've been out driving this thing, having some fun with it, let's get it back to my house and we will take a little tour of the exterior and the interior so I can show you guys around and you guys can find out if you might be interested in the Ioniq 5N. All right, so we're back home with the Ioniq 5N. Man, that thing was a blast to drive, but you know what? It's a pretty cool looking car too. Love these N wheels. They look so good. This V shape right here is a little plastic insert. You could probably pop those off if you wanted to, but you guys know my favorite color is orange. So all the orange accents on this car, on the rocker panels, the brake calipers, oh God, they just got me so excited. Now, white would not be my choice for this car. If I were gonna get an N, I would definitely get the orange color, obviously. But you know what? It doesn't look too bad with that orange accent on it. N badging up front. Headlights are all pretty much the same as the standard Ioniq 5. You've got a lot more air intake down below because this car needs a lot of cooling if you're taking this thing to the track. My God, the bug splatter on this thing is a lot. Got satin black Hyundai emblems. Looks pretty sharp. And then working our way to the back, you can see all the special N body paneling. This white piece shouldn't be here. I wonder if I can easily take that off. There we go. That looks better without that. So this car does have a lot of new features that are going to be coming to the 2025 standard Ioniq 5. And in the back, namely the rear wiper. This is my first time seeing an Ioniq 5 in person with a rear wiper. The spray nozzle for washer fluid is located way up here, and it's a powerful stream. I just tested it, as you can see, and it's really nice having the wiper. Black Ioniq 5 badging in the back here with the satin black emblem. Now, here we have a revised charge port for the 2025. First thing I noticed was when you press the button to open the door, you hear a resounding clicking sound. They redesigned this button. The current Ioniq 5, when you press that button, you don't really get any feedback. It's just kind of mushy. So now you have a real positive engagement with that button. There's also a little nub right there. It's round. I think the standard Ioniq 5 is not round, but You can tell already that this works much better than the previous version. They also revised the flap here for the CCS1 half of the charging port, and it's much easier to grab, much easier to pull off. The previous one was really challenging to get off when you needed to do it. You'll also notice an LED light in here to illuminate the area when you are charging. Opening up the trunk here. Pretty standard Ioniq 5 stuff in here. You've got the LED light on this side. They did tweak this part here for the emergency release for the charge port. Maybe they needed more room depth-wise, so they had to push this little cover out a little bit, but that does look a little bit different. This car does have the upgraded Bose sound system, so you do get the big sub located under the floor here. It does take up quite a bit of the underfloor storage space. Looking in the back seat, you can see all black interior here. And to go along with the N theme, you have a checkerboard pattern everywhere. And as somebody who is a big fan of ska music, if you listen to ska, you know that checkers play a big part in the aesthetic of that scene. So I'm really keen on the checkerboard pattern everywhere. I really dig that. The black here has a contrasting blue stitching, almost a suede type of center insert in the seats. The rest of it is leatherette, H-Tex leatherette. Something else I noticed back here, the N-line does get the cutout here to help prevent the seatbelt from rattling around if it's all twisted up. When I have the car long term, I will twist this thing up and test and see if this indentation actually helps or not. You've still got sliding seats, just like the standard Ioniq 5, and just like the limited trim, you do have the adjustable rear head restraints. Sitting in the back here, everything has been switched to black. So even like the louvers for the air vent, all black. The dome light surround, all black. USB-Cs in an Ioniq 5. Yay! So because this center console is redesigned, it's a little bit smaller. So in the back seat, even if you're sitting in the middle position, you actually have a decent amount of foot room. So you could definitely get 3 people back here if you needed to. The door pulls are all a black plastic. You've still got the standard LED lighting around the speakers. And here's the front seat, looking at it from the back. Really sharp looking. Obviously, you've got the N bucket seats. These are both fully mechanical. They have no electrical adjustments whatsoever, not even for lumbar or anything. But let's hop in the front and check that out as well. Let's see, did they add a, nope. There's no LED lighting on the door handles like in the Ioniq 6 here. But here's the front. Material-wise, everything feels the same. This is kind of that Tyvek material. So you can see your seat adjustments here. You have up and down and recline, but that's pretty much it for the seat. Also, obviously, sliding forward and backward. You've got the N-inspired dead pedal, brake pedal, accelerator pedal. We'll pop the hood so we can take a look at that in a second. But a new addition here too is a button to open up the charge port door from the inside. I do really like that. You've got the same steel piece here that you can attach magnets to, namely my Ioniq 5 eyewear holders. So be sure to check those out if you just got an Ioniq 5N and you need somewhere to store your sunglasses. These seats do feel a little bit more comfortable to me versus the EV6 GT that I reviewed last year. They seem to be a little bit wider. The EV6 GT seats I found to be extremely uncomfortable, but you know, sitting in these for a 25-30 minute drive, they felt better. So, like I was already talking about during the drive, the steering wheel feels really nice. You've got two customizable buttons here. One can do a certain set of functions, the other side can do another set of functions. NGB is Engine Boost, which gives this car an extra 40 horsepower. You guys saw me use that a little while ago. And then, yeah, in here, it does look a lot like a standard Ioniq 5. The controls here are slightly modified. This volume knob no longer has knurling on it. They added a couple buttons here and removed that toggle switch that was over on the right-hand side. I never really use it, so I could care less. But here's the center console, so you have a Qi wireless charging pad, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so you don't need to plug it in for that. Very nice. USB power port down here, and your standard 12-volt cigarette lighter port, 180 watts. Parking sensors, surround view monitor. This car does have the 360-degree view. Here's the key. It's the new design they're using on all their cars, except it has the N logo on it, and it's black. Not my favorite key, but it is what it is. Down here, you've got their fancy new quick-release cup holders. I will be making cup holder enlargers for these because they don't accommodate a larger 40-ounce water bottle, and if you do have these shut, and just stick one in here, it's going to be flying all over the place. So you're going to want to get a cup holder larger if you like those bigger bottles. Here's the little stubby armrest, which actually isn't that bad. The Ioniq 5 regular version has a much longer armrest that comes out to probably about there. So it really does rest your entire arm here. It's a little shorter, but it still feels pretty good. This isn't like the regular Ioniq 5 where it's a stitch material. This is kind of just feels like a rubbery plastic. And the whole thing doesn't flip up, just the lid. Check out the glove box. Same as the regular Ioniq 5. It looks like now they are leaving this little spot here where in the Korean market you can get the dash cam feature. You stick I think a SD card in there and it will record, just like in Teslas, all the surrounding cameras if the car senses any motion, if somebody hits you or is damaging your car for whatever reason. I guess they're just doing that to save a bit of money. You've got a auto dimming mirror with home link. The side here where your knee will be resting when you are driving is nicely padded, nice and soft. Most of this black plastic in here, it's more of like a gunmetal color. It looks good. They also changed the menu here for seat heaters and heated steering wheel. So when you click it now, it just brings up a little pop-up page. It doesn't bring you to a whole large screen view like in the standard Ioniq 5. So you can just quickly adjust the seat ventilation or heat, and then it brings you right back to the previous menu when you click out of it. These little knurled knobs here are similar to my Ioniq 6. They feel really nice on your thumbs. And then the controls here are completely reversed to the standard Ioniq 5. So cruise control is on the left now. Audio and volume and everything is on the right side now. You still have the paddle shifters here, obviously, for switching between regen modes. You guys know I'm a big fan of that. There's also a lot of space up here in the front, so you could stuff something up in here that you didn't really want prying eyes able to see. But yeah, that's pretty much the interior. There's some significant changes to the standard Ioniq 5, but it's still a very familiar space to be. So let's check out the front since I popped that open. Oh, that's right. There is no front trunk. I completely forgot about that. So you can see there is a much more large motor housing up front, so that takes up all the space that the front trunk would live. And then look at that. No high conductivity coolant, just the single coolant loop. No more replacing fluids at 35,000 miles. The top of the shock tower looks a little bit different. It's probably beefed up versus the standard Ioniq 5. Obviously, we've still got our favorite 12-volt battery here. They have not switched to lithium ion yet. Not sure if they ever will, but hopefully this one lasts. All right, so there you have it, folks. That's your first look at the Ioniq 5N. Like I said, expect a lot more coverage on this when I do get the vehicle for a week. Hopefully that'll be in the next month or so, but it'll come eventually. So as always, if you guys liked today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Check out my store, ioniqguy.com, for cool accessories for cars like your Ioniq 5 or Ioniq 6. Check out my Spreadshirt store where you can get cool t-shirts and designs with the Hyundai charging indicator logos on them like this. I made this design myself, so I'd really appreciate it if you check that out. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.